We're back. I'm so excited to be back on the podcast today, and I'm back from vacation. If you're watching on YouTube or on Spotify, you can probably see I am a tan bronzed goddess and I had the best time on vacation. And so in today's podcast episode, I just wanted to share some things that came to light, some things that I have been thinking about. I wasn't really planning on doing too much thinking on this trip, you know what I mean? But I think when you finally let yourself rest and relax and all of that, some interesting things do come through. And I think when you just also interact with the world and you're not in your home, working from home like you normally are, some things just come to light. So we're going to be diving into just a couple of things and, what really came through for me on this trip. And so let's kick it off with just a little vibe check. Feeling pretty good. I have just been getting back into the swing of things. I was going to do some deep breaths, but I just wanted to dive straight in. But yeah, I have just been catching back up on things. This is probably the most relaxed I've felt coming back from a trip, because normally I'm let's get back to work. It's just very frantic energy. It's very chicken with its head cut off energy. And I've been easing back into things, not putting pressure on myself. That's how I felt about recording this podcast and doing content. I gave myself time off last week just to vibe and be present, you know what I mean? So things are going really well over here. We also just launched a beta version of my human design readings, which I'm so excited about. I'm so excited about it. So yeah, we have some things in the works. We have some things coming. One-on-one coaching is going to be reopening later this month. It's going to have a new vibe, a new feeling to it. And yeah, I'm just really doing some changes and things to make my business feel so dang good and all the things. And yeah, that's really what's been going on with me. I hope you are also doing well. I'm sending you my love. Yeah, we'll go ahead. Let's just take some deep breaths, because I just wanted to dive in and get going. But if you feel comfy, you feel cozy, and want to take just some 3 deep breaths with me just to reset into the space, and also just give yourself a very nice and juicy breath today. We'll go ahead and take that first inhale in and exhale it back out. Second one in and exhale it back out. All right, we're going to do our next inhale in. You're going to hold it at the top and just try to suck in everything. Suck it all in. And then we'll slowly release it back out and just let go everything from the day, from yesterday, whatever it may be. So go ahead and take that inhale in. Try to fill your belly all the way up, fill your chest all the way up, hold it up at the top. And we're going to just let it all go in 3, 2, 1. That feels so good. Okay, well, let's go ahead and dive into vacation and all the things that came up. I'm not going to go too into it. I did post a vlog to my other YouTube channel on Vibe with Aid, if you want to go check that out and get a feel for the itinerary, things we did. I'm going to be uploading some other videos there. I do want to start uploading YouTube videos to the Find Your Vibe channel, so that will be coming soon. I need to figure out what I want to be doing, because we have the podcast, which is great long form content, and I really want to put some YouTube videos up on the YouTube channel. So I'm going to figure out some other topics and things. If you have any ideas, let a girl know. I think I have some good things coming through, but the first thing that I want to just give a landscape to is this vacation and how it came about. My boyfriend and I, we've known each other for 3 years. It'll be 3 years in August that we've been together. And we have never been on a vacation together, which I know is so crazy, but we were a pandemic relationship. And ever since, you know, the pandemic was kind of easing up, we went to festivals together, and we love raves and festivals, but I think we've been getting this nudge of like, okay, we come back from these things and like, yeah, our soul might be nourished, but like our bodies do not feel rested. We might be prone to getting sick. Our sleep schedules are off. So we don't really come back feeling rested. You know what I mean? So this year, we basically set the intention together that we want to travel more and have a nice, healthy balance between going to raves and festivals and going on vacation, traveling to new places together. Like that's kind of like our intention. And so it wasn't until like January, he was working and I was sitting in his bedroom just like watching TV or something. And he comes in and he was like, how would you feel about a little cruise at the end of like March or like Q1? And I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, I've just been thinking like, mate, what if we went on a cruise together, Royal Caribbean, and we just like take some time off? Like, would you be able to do that? And I was like, of course I can do that. I'm my own boss. I can like make it work. You know what I mean? And so we booked it that day. We picked a 7-night Western Caribbean cruise, and it was on one of the ships called Wonder of the Seas, which is one of the brand new ships that they have. And so that's how it kind of came to be. And I think he just really knew that like we both needed it because he works a lot, I work a lot. Beginning of Q1 is like a really good time for both of us, like me with planting seeds, him like with the industry he works in. It's like kind of really go at the beginning of Q1. And so yeah, we wanted something to look forward to at the end of Q1. And honestly, I think having some type of trip throughout 3 months is really great to just look forward to in general. And I think that's like a healthy amount, right? Doing like maybe 4 big trips out of the year. And like, I think that's how our year is turning out because we also have some upcoming trips. We'll have one in June, or we're thinking of one in August, and then we'll probably do some type of trip at the end of the year. And so yeah, that we booked it. We were all ready to go and everything. And then it just happened 2 weeks ago. It was a week long, Sunday to Sunday. We got on the boat on Sunday, docked off on Sunday. And it was 7 nights, and we went to the Bahamas, we went to Jamaica, and we went to Haiti, and we had 2 days at sea. And the first day we were actually supposed to get off the boat, but it was like super rainy, and they did like dock off, but we were like, let's just like chill and relax. And like, this was my first vacation ever, you guys, where I totally was like chilled out, restorative, felt rested, came back like just so relaxed. And I'm sure my nervous system is so grateful for it. I feel like right now I'm really in a place of just cultivating safeness and like low stress and like all of that within my body. And so this trip was so needed. I also made the choice to not drink. I am continuing not drinking. I feel so great without it. And the trip was a little difficult, I will say, at some points with the drinking, just because, I didn't want a super sugary like mocktail all the time, and like, but I still wanted stuff to drink. I was able to bring Poppy onto the boat, which was really great. I wish I brought more, but that definitely helped. But yeah, it was just really nice because I wasn't drinking. I didn't look at screens. I wasn't connected to internet ever. And I really just took a total just like reset and break, and it really was exploring like what makes a fulfilling life, right? And like I said, I wasn't trying to think on this trip. Like I wasn't trying to get creative or like have strategy, or like I wasn't thinking about that stuff. But it's like when you let yourself rest and you let yourself just like relax, ideas do come through. So if you are someone that is burnt out, or you are someone that is a creative that like is hitting a wall basically with your creativity, take a break and let yourself rest and just see what happens. Because I guarantee you, when you actually let yourself rest and be at rest, that allows you to be open to receiving. It's like when we are sitting down and we're like, all right, I'm going to think, I'm going to be creative, I'm going to do all these things. it's like we're forcing it rather than just being open to receiving the inspiration and open to receiving the ideas. And so that's kind of what happened. And I took like little notes and stuff. I listened to like one or two podcasts while I was on this trip, and one of them was my friend Hallie's self-concept work, which I'll get into. And so that's kind of just like the landscape of things, right? We had times where we were relaxing, had a light itinerary, and like it was crazy because a lot of people did not look happy on that cruise. Like I would look at some people and like some families, and they just did not look like they were vibing. And I'm like, we're literally on vacation. Like there's no need to stress. There's no need to be unhappy. Like la-di-da. And I feel like that energy is just like kind of carried now, because I've been feeling like very more like, oh, if it gets done, it gets done. It's okay. Like no stress, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, it's just been a nice change to have, honestly, in comparison to the past year. And like even the start of 2023 was very stressful. And so just to kind of move into some downloads that came through, I coined it like the island mindset. And this was definitely something that like came up while we were in the Bahamas and when we were in Jamaica, not so much in Haiti, but anyone that we came across, it was just like, yeah, no problems. Things are great. Things are fine. Life is amazing. Like everyone was just so relaxed and like happy that we were there. And then like they just seemed so happy with the jobs that they were doing. And it was just kind of like putting me in this mindset of like, everything's good in my life, right? Like what I make such a big deal about in my life are really like very small, minimal things, but I'm giving it more meaning than it needs to get. You know what I mean? And so this type of like island mindset is like, yeah, we're not constrained to like time really, or go with the flow, like no stress and all of these things. And one of our drivers that took us to like a private beach club in Jamaica, on the ride over, he was so happy and sweet and was just like, you're in Jamaica now, like no stress, no problems. And he said this one line that is like continue to stick with me. And it's like, we don't have problems. We just have challenges and situations. And I'm like, yes, like this guy knows, this guy has some life advice here, honestly. And I just really resonated with that. And so I really was just open to receiving and noticing like some of these things on this trip. And that was one of them. Is like, yeah, we don't have problems. We just have challenges and situations. Problems, it's that more of that permanent type feeling. It means like this is something that is going to be hard or difficult to solve. Whereas when we're talking about a challenge or a situation, it's temporary. It's just something we're going through. It's something that's going to get resolved or alleviate at some point, and it's not something to like make this whole big deal about. And I think that just really stuck with me is that there's just no reason to stress. Life is good. Life will continue to get good. I have to continue to believe that. I'm just going to keep saying it. Just no stress, no stress. What are ways I can relieve my stress? You know what I mean? I keep asking myself like, no stress. What could I do right now? What could I control? What can I not control? Yesterday or 2 days ago on Monday, I had a very Monday, and like, usually I would have cried about that because I had these high expectations of my Monday and it just was not going to plan. But I just like let it go. I was like, so what? It's okay. It's fine. Like things will find a way. Things will get worked out. And like I even saw an Instagram post that day that one of my past clients and followers, she reposted this post and it called it Bare Minimum Monday. And I was like, yes, I am adopting that. Bare Minimum Monday. That was my Monday. And you know what? It's okay because things are going to get done. Things will continue to get done. There's no reason to stress. And I think it's also just like the stress or the beliefs or the things that other people put onto you are not your responsibility to take. So I've even been telling that with myself with just like conversations I've been having, or like, you know, a lot of people tend to voice memo me things or reach out to me or, you know, ask me questions or all these different things, right? And a lot of it comes because they want my insight and whatnot, but sometimes that also like is hard to not take in, right? Just because they're stressed doesn't mean I need to be stressed, right? That's not my responsibility to take on. And I've also been having this with like freelancing work, like thinking about like, oh, like I don't think they like me or whatever. And like I've snapped out of it and been like, who cares if they don't like me, right? Like I'm still doing my job. I'm doing the best I can. At the end of the day, if they don't like me, oh well, that's not my business, you know? So overall, this just like island mindset that has just come through is really just like taking a chill pill, letting yourself relax and just like not making such a big deal out of some of these things in your life. And obviously there are big things that are happening in your life, but I think the minuscule things that we attribute so much meaning to, like, oh, I did something, I got, this is like this is like a bad example because a lot of you probably aren't in school, but like me, I used to make a big deal of like, oh, I got a bad grade in school, like a B or a C, I'm a terrible person. And then we make a big deal about it. And it's like, no, like you're not a bad person. It's like when we attribute like that to who we are as a person, like if something is going wrong in our life or whatever, and then it's like, well, I'm a bad person, or like I'm not as perfect as I thought I was, or I'm not good enough, or blah, 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 blah. Like that's when we're making it a big deal. But of course, there are some things to make a big deal about in your life that you can be like hurt or upset by or need to get some emotions out about. But then there's just some other things. Like I can think back to so many times when I was on the phone with my mom and I was like just bawling my eyes out. And she's like, why are you crying? And I literally like would have to pause and be like, I don't know. You know what I mean? And sometimes like those cries and emotions do need to get out. But sometimes we make such a big deal out of things and it's just really not as big of a deal as it needed to be. So that's kind of like the island mindset that has, you know, stuck with me and that I'm going to continue to have. And I'm going to continue to like foster, because as someone who always, you know, stresses myself out, I think it's just really important for me to always come back to. So take that if it resonates, take it if you want it. The next thing that I was really like thinking about is like self-concept work. And I'm going to shout out my friend Hallie. She has her podcast. I think it's Icon Elements, I'm pretty sure is what she calls it. And I love her. She's done both of my logos. She's amazing. And she did a whole episode on self-concept work. And it's basically like rewiring your stories, your beliefs. And I've really been struggling with this like the past couple of months, if I'm being honest. Like when it comes to who I am as a coach and entrepreneur, and like, you know, there's a disconnect right now, I feel like, in terms of what I believe and then like showing up. And same thing with like with my body image, and like there's just definitely like a disconnect going on. And I really enjoyed her podcast episode. And this is something that I really want to just be working on, is like, are my actions aligning with like what I believe about myself or what I hope to believe about myself? Am I really doing what I need to do to like jump these timelines and get into who I want to be and like all of that? And so that was just something that really came through that I was like starting to notice, is like when I first started this coaching business, I had all the belief in the world about what I was doing, and I still do, but that negative voice has really gotten to me. So I'm really going to be focusing on like that relationship I have with that voice, and kind of like getting it to chill out, getting it to relax, and really work on that. And, you know, I really love some of the affirmations she said in there of like, money is accessible as the air I breathe. Money is on its way to me. I breathe in abundance and exhale scarcity. I'm aging backwards. And really just jumping into living in that timeline of who you want to be. And like being on this cruise, I so needed, because I was treated like a princess, like a queen on this trip. Like anytime I wanted something, all the service people were so great and amazing. And like, I just really felt like taken care of on this cruise, not only with my partner, but like just with like the different cruise team members we and just with the different like, you know, team members and employees that served us and like things like that. Is like, I just felt like treated like that. And it's like, okay, if other people treat me like this and see me like this, of course it's their job, right? But this is how I need to be also taking care of myself and showing up for myself and like affirming for myself, right? So it definitely was very interesting to like notice some of that. And it was very much like, Aid, pay attention, you know, like this is like a blind spot for you that you've been neglecting. So this is definitely something I want to like keep getting back into. The next one I have is to not push your inner child away. Don't bury it away. And I have a story to go with this. We got to the private beach club in Jamaica. It was like a total surprise. And in the water, so there's a beach, right? It's a beach, sandy beach, perfect beach, blue water. At this beach club, they also had an inflatable slide in the ocean. Like if I'm able to put in a clip, I will. But you can imagine it. It had like a rock climbing mountain kind of thing that was all inflatable. And attached to it was this slide. And the minute that we walked in, it was Chase and I, and then there was other people that were in, you know, the van with us that were also on our cruise, but we didn't know them. And I was like, oh my God, I want to go jump on that. That looks so much fun. And this older woman, she was like the mom of the group, maybe in her 50s, I want to say. She was like, really, you want to go jump on that? And I was like, yeah, I feel like my inner child would just like absolutely love doing that. And she said this line was like, well, that's good for you. She's like, well, that's good for you. Whereas my hidden child is like very tucked away, has not been brought out for years. And I feel like she was trying to like say it as like a joke. But, you know, when jokes have like that truth to it, you know, it had that little bit of truth to it that made me really sad for this woman, because I was like, I wanted to be like, well, you should go let her out for a little bit or something. Like I wanted to say that, but obviously this is a stranger. I'm not going to like push my personal development and like spiritual development onto her. And yeah, it was just one of those things where it got me to think, and it took me a second to be like, you know what I mean? And it really just reminded me that like inner child play like is so important, and continuing to foster your inner child and nurture your inner child and like embody it, I think is just so important, especially because I like look at adults, and I'm going to laugh probably in like, you know, however many years if I ever come back to this podcast episode, but I just do not identify with becoming boring and becoming so serious just because I'm getting older with age. Like I just do not identify with that. Like it makes me so sad to think about, you know, obviously we have to grow up and like whatever, you become parents and like there's all these serious things, but like I really just don't identify with becoming boring, with becoming grumpy and sad and angry and like just like cynical about the world or becoming an adult or like whatever. And like some adults might be like, well, you have to do that, you know, like rah, rah, rah. It was the same thing. Like I told my mom, I was like, I just find it so annoying that I have to like wake up, do my morning routine, go to work, make money, save money. I have to do all of these things as an adult. And you know what my mom said? She's like, well, that's just a part of life. And I was like, well, I don't want that to be my life, you know, like I don't want to have to identify with this story or this belief that when we grow up and when we get older, that we have to lose out on the fun, lose out on the adventure, and like push our inner child away, push our inner teen away because, you know, we're adults now, you know, like I just cannot get behind that. You know what I did? I climbed up that little rock wall kind of mountain looking thing. I went down the slide and I had a great time. And I also had to whip out the swim strokes. For those that don't know, I did swimming when I was way younger, and Chase was like so surprised. He was like, where did that swimming technique come from? Because at some point you had to like swim out to it because your feet couldn't touch the bottom, and he was so surprised. And it's just like you have to do stuff like that to like, you know, challenge yourself, to heal your inner child, soothe your inner child, make your inner child happy. Like that was something that I would have done when I was younger. So like, why am I gonna like turn away from it now? I did get a bruise, and like, yeah, I think a lot of us sometimes are afraid of injury, right? But I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do that. If I want to go climb that, I'm gonna do that. Even when we got to the next place, which was Haiti, there was like a coaster, zip line, like stuff like that, but we just didn't book them ahead of time. So we just enjoyed time like in the water and like relaxation and stuff like that. But I just think it's really, really important to cultivate that inner child time and have that, because yeah, like who wants to become a boring and grumpy old adult? Like life's too short to be so serious. You know what I mean? Like I just can't do it. And so with all of that, that does bring me to like my final thing that I really just wanted to kind of dive into, that as I was, reflecting and thinking about like what feels so good about this trip and like what really makes a fulfilling life, what makes a really great vacation, what makes a fulfilling life. And like these pillars kind of came to mind to me. And, I've talked about how to create a fulfilling life. That's what I've had in some of my programs, but I've never really talked about like what makes a true and fulfilling life. And there's probably going to be a whole bunch of different podcast episodes and offers and like things like this to really like dive into. But when I was really thinking about it, like what makes a fulfilling life, the 5 pillars kind of came to me. And the first one is going to be the relationship with yourself. And within this, it's like knowing yourself, loving yourself, having that relationship with yourself, understanding who you are, knowing what you're passionate about, what your purpose is, what you're skilled at, is kind of that first pillar that came to mind. Really cultivating that relationship with yourself, because it all really starts with you. And this also can include your mindset as well, and like all the things that make up you as well. That was the first pillar that I thought of. The next one is like, what I've traditionally taught about, which is creating your vision. So creating the vision that you have for your life will make a fulfilling life. And that's having the vision that you have for your life, but then executing on it, with habits and routines, with taking action, with manifestation, really cultivating what that vision is and bringing it to life makes a fulfilling life, right? When we reach our goals, when we see our vision coming true, when we see these manifestations coming true, and when we're jumping timelines and everything, that feels really fulfilling, right? The next one that came to mind is just balance, having a balanced life, right? We work hard, we play hard. We work hard, we play hard, we rest hard, we ball hard. But you know what I mean, right? Like it's important to have a balance of the different areas of your life between working, having a relationship, having friend and family time, working on a hobby. Like it's important to have a really good grasp on where your life is at in all different areas. Now, not all areas of your life might be they might not all be perfect at the same time, but at least seeing some progress in some areas of life and feeling good about where your life is at in each area could be really beneficial. Also with balance, this could include, balancing between masculine and feminine energies within you, finding ways to plan and organize and make time for the things that you want to do. And then this could also include putting yourself first and not putting your needs and not putting other people's needs above your own, learning to set boundaries. That's kind of what I feel like encompasses the balance pillar. The next one would be joy and play, because I was really thinking about it. Like you have to make time for joy, you have to cultivate joy, and you have to make time for play. This could include being present in your life, inner child play, cultivating joy, and just really not taking life so seriously like I talked about. And then the final pillar that came through is rest and nourishment. So going easy on yourself, pouring into your cup, cycle syncing and planning, and making time for rest. And that all really came through to me because on this trip, I was really noticing things about myself and the relationship I have with myself. I also I was wanting to do some travel to some new countries, and that was really happening on this trip. And so that's a part of like the vision part. Balance, taking a really nice balance between working and resting and all of that, and like the other areas of my life too. And then joy and play, like I talked about, finding time for inner joy and finding time for inner child play and joy and all of that. And then rest and nourishment. Like this trip was so nourishing for me. And so That's what I really mean of like, I feel like I hacked life fulfillment while on this vacation, that had I not gone, I could have still been like, having my gears going, trying to figure out some of these things, when really like, this is what it's all about, is like when you go out and live your life and do things, like you get inspired for the other things that you're doing in your life and whatnot. And so I'm just feeling so grateful for this trip. It definitely was the best way to fill my cup up and to hit a nice little reset button. And it was a perfect end to quarter one, the first 3 months of 2023. I'm really looking forward to these next 3 months because my birthday is coming up. Some very exciting things are coming up. Really just want to thank you guys so much for tuning in, anchoring in with me, hearing what I have to say. I'm so grateful for this community. Like so grateful, honestly, between all my clients right now and just the community that I have here. It's really amazing what I'm building here, and I'm forever grateful for it. What we're gonna do just to wrap up this episode, let's pull some cards. I have my super attractor deck already open here. I got this off of Amazon. So we'll pull a card from here first, a little affirmation. This is going up on Friday. So this will be an affirmation for the weekend. Ooh, I had a client just get this one. Spiritual alignment puts my manifestation into motion. Spiritual alignment puts my manifestation into motion. Beautiful. Get spiritually aligned and your manifestations will get put into motion. We love to hear it. Note from your higher self. Ooh. Cards are flying out for me. Note from your higher self for the weekend. Trust the process. There are periods of bliss and there are periods of uncomfortable growth. The goal isn't to control the process and avoid the discomfort. The goal is to surrender and be curious about where the journey takes you. Trust the process. Just taking that all in. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for tuning in and vibing with me and anchoring in with me. It's been way too long and I'm excited to just get back into routine, content uploading and all the things. If you did like today's episode, feel free to share it with your story. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and that like button for me. And if you are listening on a podcast platform, feel free to rate, follow, subscribe, all the things. I love you guys and I will see you in the next one. And do not forget that life is a vibe. Bye.